Hey everybody, welcome to Help Solve the Case, and in this video we are talking about our group of missing you folks. And we are going to talk about two cases today, the case of Donnis Pinky Redman and Michael Griffin, who are missing, reportedly missing from Williams, Arizona, but that's a question. And I recently went to the area to look at their cases and the surrounding area because it seems that they could all be interspersed. So stay tuned and let's walk through this. Let me show you. I've got a little map laid out and everything. Let's just see if we can help find these two people. Okay, so we are going to begin here in the NamUs report. That is the basis, right, for the police, the NamUs report for the missing and unidentified and our unclaimed folks. And if you want a training on how to navigate through the NamUs system, I do have a video on that. You can search for it. It's NamUs, N-A-M-U-S. Some people call it NamUs, which is appropriate. Okay. So here we have, look how cute she is. These just break my heart. I don't know if it's better to have a photo or not have a photo, right? Obviously, we want a photo, but it makes it a little more real. I don't know, a little more disappointing. So here's, and I don't know if it's Donnis Marie Redman. She is called Pinky. That is her nickname, so we are told. And her date of last contact is March 1st, 1958. Missing from San Pedro, California. Now, I know that's confusing. I'm going to map it all out for you. Her missing age was 14 years old, and she would be 82 years old today. Now, she was 14 when she went missing. Again, Donnis Marie Redman goes by the nickname of Pinky. How cute, right? If we go back to the time in the 50s, right? Pinky. She was reportedly 5'2" and 105 pounds, white female. Now, again, the date of last contact, March 1st, but that's a little, you'll see. And her case was created in January 28th of 2009. So, unfortunately, how many folks knew about her? And you'll see why this is important because of the different jurisdictional issues. This is how critical this database is. How many people knew about her in the area where they should be looking? All right. I just got back from the area looking for people in the same timeline, right in the same area, and people didn't know about the earlier cases, even though they're in NamUs. And when I was there, a person had gone missing 2 or 3 days prior, and there were no flyers, no nothing. Very sad. Okay, I was at the Grand Canyon Park, went through, we had a line backed up 15, 20 minutes at the gate, and they could have been handing out flyers about the most recent guy, definitely, but we also have these other people. But they say some people I talked to are like, missing people are bad for business. Yeah, missing and dead people are bad for business, but let's stop that from happening, okay? Let's find some folks and put things in place. I don't know. Anyway, sorry about that, but it bothers me. Okay, so her last known location, and this is like where I said is a little confusing, was maybe San Pedro, California, and just hold on there. I'll go into that further. Now, she was last seen accompanying her boyfriend in Las Vegas, Nevada. The boyfriend's car was found in Williams, Arizona, and the boyfriend is Michael James Griffin, age 18, who is still missing. Now, we have word that they were seen in Las Vegas, but they're not sure. We also reportedly have the car in Williams, but we're not sure. And I had a question about her age. She was 14, okay? And I was like, oh, she was allowed to just go traveling with this guy. And we're not talking about today's time where things are more lenient, shall we say? No, we're talking about the 1950s, okay? And according to my sources, Donnis was listed as missing and endangered. Now, this was her boyfriend, so this is not that kind of a thing, right, that we know of. But that's kind of the situation. So we'll take a look at all this. I just want to go through the NamUs entry first. So she's listed as having blonde or strawberry hair, curly, blue eyes. And she was last, now when she left her house, now remember, she packed for a trip, we think. So she would have multiple sets of clothing, and that comes important later to me, the cop investigator, right? Comes important to me. Brown capri pants and a yellow sweater. And it says the vehicle was found near Williams. Okay, let me pull up Michael for right now, okay? Hang on just a second. I didn't show you her picture. Oh my goodness, look at her. Here she is. Okay, let's look at her. Look how cute she is. She's got those earrings on. My grandmother had earrings like that. Look how cute she is. Isn't she just adorable? Okay. And then we have another one here. There she is, as she would be today. What a beautiful lady. Okay, let me show you. Let me get to Michael. I'll be right back. Okay, so here we have Michael. Look at him. It looks like he must have graduated. Looks like he's in a graduation gown. Again, same date of last contact. This is Michael Lawrence Griffin, missing from San Pedro. He was 18 at the time. He would currently be 86. And they do have that it is a companion case here, which is good. They've got them linked together. He was 5'3" and 120 pounds, a white male, and they have his last known location as San Pedro, okay? Los Angeles County. And it says Mike, okay, he went by Mike, was last seen in the company of Donnis Marie Redman, a.k.a. Pinky. They may have traveled to Las Vegas to elope, okay? So now we have more details here. Those details are not in Pinky's case. And this is where I say not being critical of NamUs, but different people enter these. Sometimes the medical examiner maintains these. Sometimes the police department maintains these. Sometimes colleges and DOJ grantee people manage these to get the data in. And it's great to get the data in. But if investigators, for my cops, any of my cops listening, for investigators not to manage this and think about it with the clues and leads and what would they want to know type thing, I think it's a huge disservice. And that's just me. Used it all the time, okay? I've known about this, right? Like it is the thing. Could we do better? I believe so. And again, I don't want to be critical. Thank God we have it. But I think, and when we talk about the case that generated me to start looking into all these cases, there was nothing in there. And I drove all over creation and spent a lot of time, I don't want to say wasted time, because here we are. I'm aware of 4 other missing people, but it would really help to mandate. I wish these would get mandated that they get updated more frequently, and I wish our police had more control over it from the investigative bent than it just being a listing, because it's an investigative tool, and I just wish it had more oomph. So anyway, okay. So it says they may have traveled to Las Vegas to elope. They have not been seen of or heard of again. And Mike's car turned up shortly after the date of last contact. That's what the DLC is, in Williams, Arizona, where it was abandoned. Now, this says shortly after the DLC in Williams. Now, it sounds like the date of last contact in Williams, but it's reported that they were seen in Las Vegas, but we don't know who reportedly saw them in Las Vegas. So we don't even know if Las Vegas is a possibility, but we hear the word elope here, okay? And, you know, Las Vegas, you'll see on the map, like it's not too far that they could have gone on a honeymoon to Williams. All right. And we'll talk more about the Williams connection. There's a video on the channel. I was driving around downtown Williams. I don't have an exact address where the car was found. And I just recorded some of very cute, very adorable, if it would have looked that way back in the day or whatever. But you'll better understand the circumstances. These cases are all, I don't want to say they're all tied together. Are they all related to each other from a situational standpoint? Some of them, yes. Some of them, no. Okay. So he had red or auburn hair and he had hazel eyes. And it says his teeth had been straightened through orthodontia. 2 or more teeth may have been removed to aid in alignment. And that's important when, okay, we're talking about back in the dinosaur days that, I mean, and I'm joking, what I refer to as my dinosaur police days, that we didn't have a lot to work with like we do today. And so teeth, dental identification was very important. So if you've had teeth removed, like I've had teeth removed, it's important because when you count them up and there's not all of them there, that's a huge hint. Do I have the right person or do I not? You don't even have to go to fingerprints. Okay. And now it says transportation. It says Virginia, which is interesting. So why would he have a license plate of Virginia on the car when he lived in San Pedro? Did he swap and steal a tag? Okay, here's a crazy question. Did they get the right car? Why would he have a Virginia, a California, Virginia, right? Okay, that's weird. It says 1950 to 1951 Dodge Clipper, or it should be equivalent, looks like, white, twin exhaust with loud mufflers. That is weird. Okay, let's see our pictures here. Okay, so here he is. Yep, and that looks like a graduation gown, doesn't it? Look at the hair. I love that. I love that. Poor Mike. What happened to Mike? Okay. I just want to go back and see if there's, oh my goodness. Now, when you go, if you create your account, you can go in here, and I didn't look at it on Pinky. We'll have to pull this up. Oh, these are exclusions. So these are people in the system that have been excluded. And, okay, Virginia is coming up because of the license plate potentially. I just want to see how many. One from Coconino. That's interesting. That's 1980. So let me see. Is that missing date? Date body found, 1980. That's interesting. Let's just look at that while we're here because there's another dead body. Okay, so oh, is that him? No, 9861. Okay, it's not going to let us look into it. It is not going to let us look into it. So I'll pull that up. Okay, so this is the NamUs part. Okay, we're going to get into more details. All right. So give me 1 second to load that up. Okay, so here is the little map that I kind of laid out here. California is over here. Couldn't fit it all in the map that you could see it. And according to the NamUs file, Pinky and Donnis, right here, were, and this is where the disconnection happens. Pinky and Donnis were last seen in San Pedro. They were reported missing to the Los Angeles County authorities. They were last seen on March 1st, 1958. Now, they could have driven straight through to Las Vegas. We heard about the potential elopement, and they could have done that in the same day. So, and it's reportedly, we just hear from here and there and everywhere. I do not have the reports. I can get the reports that they were seen in Las Vegas. Okay. And then, well, we'll get over there. Okay. So we don't know if they really went to Las Vegas or made it to Las Vegas, but that's a place where people run off and get married, right? I don't know. I haven't researched what the laws were at the time. She was, 14? Would that have been possible? Not possible? Fake birth certificate? Like, who knows? Okay. But they reportedly went to Las Vegas. All right. So we have this. We have the March 1st, 1958 date, and it's either Vegas or California. Okay. If they went to Vegas, they would have more than likely come down here through to Williams. And Williams, you will see, is the gateway to the Grand Canyon as it advertises itself. And again, I did a little video. There's a lot of videos of in this area. I did one specifically about downtown Williams so we could get an idea. Now, reportedly, Michael's car was found here, but I've searched and I cannot find an exact date. So folks are guesstimating the 4th through the 8th, 1958. So how, what's going on? Maybe they went to honeymoon here in the Grand Canyon. And Williams is a good stop on the way. At the time, lodging could have been either very expensive or unavailable, or they didn't know. And eloping, like we don't know what happened on March 1st when they just decided, like, did they just decide to wing it? Did they have it planned? So possibly Williams was the better choice on Route 66. You'll see all the cute little hotels and everything. Maybe Williams was maybe a better affordable, better alternative than who knows what in the Grand Canyon. Okay. So now where does this tie in with all this? Okay. So this is the case of Little Miss X that started me on this hunt. Unidentified human remains that were found, I should have put some text here, on Skinner Ridge in October 31st, 1958. Now, they thought because of the clothing, this is kind of crazy. Let me give you the details here, because this may be the first time you're watching this and that we've got a lot of cases going on. They found her October 31st, 1958 in the area of Skinner Ridge. I did a video. I took my truck back there. I drove back there. And they think that she was there for, I think it's 9 to 14 months. Okay. Which makes her earlier than this, 1958. But again, it is not, I will tell you, it is not exact science. I've had cases that come back with all kinds of different things. Remember, they were making this determination back in the 50s. We have way more advanced stuff now, okay? So we just can't, if we get, this is another point, if we get tunnel vision and we get fixated on something, it can be to our detriment. Our detriment, as wasting time and feeling unsuccessful and in our personal life and whatever. But I'm talking about it can be detrimental to these cases. So we have to have an open mind and think about all the possibilities. So she could, so they're saying 14 months. I believe it was. So, okay, let's move on. So when I saw that little Miss X was found here and there was no information in her NamUs file. So I was like, oh my gosh, she hasn't been recovered. And I reached out to the sheriff's office and I said, I'll work her case. Let me work her case. And I didn't hear anything. So I started looking to see who is in the area, who could be in the area that would fit her. So I didn't find Donnis. I didn't find Pinky because Pinky wasn't reported missing over here. Again, this is a problem. She wasn't reported missing over here. So the Williams, it didn't hit on the Williams, all right? So I'm over here. And who do I find but Ida Lee and Mary Begay? Oh, I have an error on Ida Lee. Let me fix that. Let me see if I can fix that. 1 second. Okay, so Mary was last seen at the Bright Angel Lodge in the Grand Canyon Village. She worked there on August 1st, 1956. Ida Lee worked there at the El Tovar. And I got that on video. You can look at the other videos when I'm on the ground. You'll see that there. And she was last seen November 1st, 1956. August, September, October, November. Now, it appears that investigators have ruled out these two being Little Miss X. And I'll go through that. But I just want you to see all the players and where we're going with that. In Michael's car, his car was found down here. This is an estimated time frame. There is a train that runs up to the Grand Canyon Village. So you can, for the day, take the train up and come back. So if Michael and Pinky took the train up and something happened and they didn't come back, so then Michael and Pinky would actually be missing from over here. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay. All right. Now let's get into some of the nitty gritty. Okay. So on March 1st, we're talking about Pinky and Michael here. Okay. With a little bit of Little Miss X, Mary and Ida thrown in. Okay. But our focus here in this case is Pinky and Michael. So on March 1st, 1958, Donnis, Pinky, and her boyfriend left San Pedro, California, headed for Las Vegas. That's what we think. They told people in their lives they were going to elope. They were never seen again, that we know. A few days later, that's all we know, Mike's car was found abandoned in Williams, Arizona. That car is the last physical trace of either of them. 68 years later, no bodies, no arrests, no answers. And this is one of the oldest open missing person cases in LA County. Okay, so here's what we know. Pinky and Mike were both from San Pedro, California, which is a working class, or was a working class harbor community in South LA. They were dating. He was a legal adult. She was 14. The age gap matters. And it's the reason that the elopement story has raised eyebrows. There is no documented evidence that either family approved of the relationship. And the case is in the files of the LA County Sheriff's Department, not as a runaway for Miss Pinky, but for an endangered adult, endangered missing, meaning law enforcement does not believe they left voluntarily and disappeared safely. Now, I've seen some stories. This is all conjecture. I don't know anything. I don't have the reports. I don't have anything. Like I mentioned, I stumbled on this maybe, I don't know, month and a half ago when I was headed into northern Arizona on a vacation and came across Little Miss X, and I was like, okay, I have to do something. I'm going to be headed over that way. Let me at least check it out. I immediately called and said, let me work the case. And I said, I'm going to have to go check out the area. And then it proved futile because I was on the wrong side of the canyon. I was trying to come in from over here, and that didn't work. So, and then I found out like all this information. Okay. So I've heard that there was pressure put on the agency to make her endangered. Okay. I don't know. We can say all kinds of things to get some spotlight. And I've also heard that she was, because her NamUs number, we get her NamUs number, she is 1475. And he is 11219. And if they went missing together, they should be in sequence, getting entered. Okay. So apparently there was pressure being put on to, right, whatever we need to call it. You know, we're not casting aspersions here, but it's like whatever we need to call it to get light a fire. Okay. Again, I don't have the reports. I'll try to get the reports. We'll see what happens. Okay. So we think, you know, here's what we heard, that they left March 1st, 1958 from San Pedro and head east towards Vegas, where they might have been able to get married easier. Some say they were last seen in San Pedro that day. Others say they were seen in Las Vegas. So we don't have any clarity on that. And no one's been able to reconcile it as far as we know. And my documents here, my AI assistant is telling me, and he can be wrong, that we don't have any newspaper coverage on it. The case file might have some stuff. We don't know. Is there a marriage license? That's something we can look for, right? Okay. So the Las Vegas claim is based on what the family believed, not eyewitness that we know. Then, okay, so fast forward March 1st, we are somewhere several days later and we don't have specifics. Again, I'm going to have to try to get specifics. has Virginia plates, is found abandoned in Williams. Williams is the Route 66 town and the southern gateway to the Grand Canyon. It's 220 miles from Las Vegas, a 3.5-hour drive, okay? So, could be done in a day, 2 days, whatever. The exact location within Williams where the car was recovered has never been publicly documented. Not the street, not the lot, not the side of the road. After deep searches across Reddit, Web Sleuths, Charlie Project, Doe Network, and news archives, the detail is simply not in the public record, okay? That's what my boy's telling me, okay? The car is itself listed in NamUs as, quote, accounted for, meaning law enforcement has it or had it. What was inside the car when it was found has never been made public either. That's an interesting tidbit, right? Then, all right, so now we're in March 1958. Now, we move up to October. 8 months after Pinky and Mike went missing, the skeletal remains of an unidentified young female are found at Skinner Ridge, about 10 miles southeast of the Grand Canyon. It is close. I drove it, okay? I recorded some video. It's close. Near a dirt road off the highway corridor that runs through Williams. I'm going to try to get the exact coordinates because I would like to run a dog up there because you'll see why. I think Ida and Mary and Ida are up there. Okay. Lil Miss X, that's the nickname they've given her. We're over here now. Her body is unclothed and prone. The Coconino County coroner estimates she's been there 9 to 18 months, okay? Meaning she died sometime between spring 1957 and January 1958. Again, they can get these things wrong. So spring of 1957, what months are those? What months are those? Look what we have here. August to September, September to October, October to November. November to December, December to January, January to February. If we apply the 18 months or more. And again, we don't know. Aging the bones in the 50s, like we don't know. Now maybe, I don't know, they've done more tests on it. Since then, I don't know. Okay? And I'm going to do a whole case on Lil Miss X. Okay? It says they eventually find clothing nearby, a white wool cardigan, brown plaid capri pants with Graff, Graff, California wear label, white rayon underpants, and a maiden-form Alouette bra, size 34C. They say the clothes do not fit Lil Miss X. Now, remember, we heard some things that they ruled it out because this was a white sweater and she was last seen wearing a yellow sweater. Well, ladies, how many clothes do we bring on a trip? A ton. Like, you mean to say she's going away to get married on her honeymoon or whatever, and she's not going to bring a change of clothes, and it's the exact same type of clothes, okay? Just saying. Just throwing that out there. Okay. Among the items, a blue plastic nail file case etched with the letters P and R. Okay? Now, here's why she's apparently been excluded. And again, this is pulled from sources. I haven't made this determination myself. Pinky was blonde, blue-eyed, and fair-skinned. Lil Miss X, this is what they say, had naturally reddish auburn hair dyed light brown. and forensic anthropologists assessed her as white or possibly Hispanic. Some described as darker complected and possibly Latina. Now, what's the difference here looking between this and these ladies? Okay. All right. So I was like, oh my gosh, as soon as I saw, and I did not put the composite. Let me put the composite up while we're doing this. Hold on. Okay, now here's the drawing of Little Miss X. And look at Mary. And now you see why I was like, oh my goodness. And I ran right over there. Okay? Because she does not look like Pinky here. Look at Mary and Ida. Look at that beautiful hair. Okay? So I was like, oh my goodness. Okay? Okay, so they assessed Little Miss X as 11 to 17 with wavy hair. The wave possibly artificial. Now, if it was artificial, then that's probably not Mary and Ida. Now, Ida was older, Mary was 19. They also say that the timeline doesn't fit Pinky's disappearance because Pinky would have gone missing only a few months before. Okay? And the body was aged. They were definitely able to tell that the body had been out there at least a year and something. Okay? Then they talk about that the timing rules Pinky out. Okay, but then, then I was over here. Okay. Let me just go through here and make sure what else. Okay, because we're going to do a separate thing on Little Miss X, but I wanted you to see the genesis of what happened. As soon as I saw that, I was like crazy. Okay, so here are the theories. 1, they made it to Vegas and something happened. And this says this is what the family thought. That Pinky and Mike actually got to Vegas and that something happened in Vegas that ended their lives. And Mike's car was driven by them, by the bad people, under duress or driven by someone else to Williams and dumped. Right? I mean, that's valid. The problem with this theory is that the only sighting in Vegas appears to be family belief, not a verified eyewitness account. Now, if we could find a marriage certificate or something like that, that would make it more probable. But we cannot get tunnel vision, and we have to go through all theories. Theory 2, they never made it to Vegas. That there was foul play on the road, that they left San Pedro going to Vegas, and somewhere on the route, Vegas via I-15, then southeast on Route 66 towards Williams, okay, they encountered somebody, a hitchhiker, a predator, a person waiting. It's a wild west out there, right? And no disrespect to Mike, these are the theories that are out there. Mike was 5'3" and 120 pounds. Pinky was 5'2" and 105 pounds. 2 small teenagers in what they're describing as a flashy car with loud mufflers. Easy targets. Under this theory, that the killer drove the car as far as Williams and dumped it, and that the bodies are somewhere along the highway corridor, possibly in Arizona, possibly in Nevada, possibly in between. Theory 3, and this is, we hate thinking stuff like this. Mike did something to Pinky. And here's what my assistant says, right? And this is, again, we have to look at all possibilities. We have no idea. He says, this is my AI assistant, says, this is the theory the public record dances around but rarely says outright. Mike was 18. Pinky was 14. He had a car. She didn't. He had legal autonomy. She didn't. He was the older partner in what would be today called a statutory relationship. If something went wrong on that drive, a fight, a pregnancy disclosure, a refusal, he had the means and opportunity. Under this theory, Mike could have left her somewhere on the route, abandoning his own car in Williams to make it look like they were both attacked, and walked away into a new life. He'd be 86 today if alive. Then we also have a note here that a 2010 motion to exhume a possible Mike body in Arizona suggests at least one investigator considered scenarios where Mike's fate was separate from Pinky's. The DNA exclusion ruled out that specific body, but it didn't rule out the theory. So this is good. People are working these. Number 4, theory 4. A third party ran them off the road and both died. Now, I don't know how that works, but a more sympathetic version of theory 2, they were victims of opportunity. Whoever attacked them killed them both, took the car briefly, then dumped it in Williams. Bodies in remote Arizona terrain, possibly never to be found given the size of the landscape and the year. But, running them off the road, I guess without damaging the car. Again, we don't have the report on the car, so we don't know if the car was damaged or not. I'm still I don't understand the Virginia plate. What are you thinking about that? That's interesting. Theory 5, serial offender. Okay, here we go. This is my assistant. He's theorizing this. Let's see how close he is to me. If Little Miss X really was killed sometime between the spring 1957 and January 1958, and Pinky and Mike disappeared in 1958, and all of it is centered on the Williams Grand Canyon corridor, it's worth at least asking whether a single person was active in that area in that window. Yeah, don't say. There's no public evidence linking the cases beyond geography and timing. But it's a question the case files have not, in public, answered. Again, I'm just a civilian now. We don't see the back of NamUs, and we don't see the police case files. So, what don't we have here? We don't know the exact location in Williams where the car was found. That would be cool. Is it in the parking lot? If the video, you see the parking lot was there for the train now. We don't know if that was there, at the depot. That's interesting. No documented inventory of what was in Mike's car when it was recovered. Personal effect, blood, sign of a struggle. No public record of who reported the car abandoned or how long it had been there. That would be important, right? No documented witness account of either Pinky or Mike being seen in Las Vegas. No documented witness account of who, if anyone, saw them leave San Pedro. But we've got the LA, they're in there. So the LA, either the sheriff's office or LAPD, right? They took the report. So they hopefully would have verified it. Pinky's dentals are listed as not available on NamUs. Mike's case mentions his orthodontic history, but not whether records are obtainable today. Hopefully they would be in the police file. He says Little Miss X's remains were lost for decades after burial in the Citizen Cemetery, which I was there at the Citizen Cemetery. I was looking, could not find. I even asked the employee. Granted, I was there on the weekend. He didn't know where the unmarked graves were. So we don't know, but I feel very positive. Remember, I said I spoke to the investigator, so I feel very positive that they feel positive. That's all I can say. I mean, not that I'm hiding anything. I just, I got the feeling that they feel more positive now than they did. Okay. And, from what A guy is saying there's no documented news coverage from 1958. None. For 2 missing teenagers in an abandoned car, there should be archive coverage somewhere. No one has surfaced it. Well, let me tell you, I was just up at the Grand Canyon, and there's a missing person, active missing person case. And nothing. The ranger was out in front of the lodge where the guy went missing. I was right on the trail where the guy went missing. Nobody was handing out flyers. Nobody was doing anything. Okay. It just happened in my social media feed, my X feed, from one of the state representatives that moved, forwarded the story from the Park Service. Okay. And like I said, I came in the gate, like they could have done. I even asked the hotel personnel, and they're like, oh yeah, we got flyers. We got flyers there by the time cards for the employees, not for us, not for these. I don't even know. There were so many people there, but I was right in the area. I was right there on the trail where Mary works, where Mary worked. Okay. Like right out the back door. So, let's see what else we've got. Yeah, I think. Yeah, so here's where we're going to leave this. The case, this is Pinky and Michael. No charged suspect, no convicted defendant, no publicly named person of interest. No allegedly issues are flagged because no one has been accused. We have no idea. Theory 3 is presented as one of several reasonable investigative hypotheses, because this is what you have to do. What could have happened? It's not a claim, God forbid, that Mike did anything. So you just have to look at it, because we don't want to get tunnel vision. I mean, look at the way that all of these are connected. It's horrible, but we just don't know. He's a missing person, just like Pinky is, and we want to find him. And it sounds like detectives are looking for it. So, where does that leave us? Move myself over here. I don't know if you can see me or not. Hopefully you can see me. So, Pinky would be 82 years old today. Mike would be 86. It could be around. Their families have been waiting since Eisenhower was president. Wow, way to go with the humdinger there, okay? They've been waiting for somebody to come home to find out what happened, and nobody did. Little Miss X has been waiting just as long for someone to know her name. Everybody deserves their identity. Everybody deserves to be found. And this is 100% my mission. And I thank you guys for listening, for following along. And I'm doing everything that I know what to do. I'm open for suggestions. We're open for donations, for DNA. There's so many of these folks. Over 26,000 missing, over 15,400 unidentified, and we have the means with forensic genetic genealogy. We just need your help. So, this is Christine. This is Help Solve the Case. Let's help find out what happened to Donnis and Michael, Pinky and Mike. And I'll do my best. Thank you. I appreciate the like and the share and the comments. And I will see you next time.